Okay, how's it working now? How are we doing now? How are we doing now? All right, I got it back to running. How are we doing now? All right, I got it back to running. How are we doing now? Huh. Is it still repeating? Hey, Richard. Am I repeating myself over and over again? Hello. How do I sound? It's not
Hello.
repeating? How do I sound? It's not
Hello.
repeating? Okay. Class begins. Now, if you have any questions, you can type in the say something thing. Okay, good. So we had our first lesson there. Now our second one, we're gonna be looking at RGSE. Now the first thing I do, welcome. My first thing I'm gonna do is, if anybody's not in the room that are seeing me live, I'm just doing a live chat session on a watch list, stocks, and ideas, and how I look for confirmation, how I look for ins and outs. Where's Vegas? She's getting ready to go to Jerusalem, to Israel, so she's getting all dolled up today. So it's just going to be me right now. And I figured means the market's closed, we'll get on here and do some talking. So I've got RGSE, and after we get done with that, we're going to do TYME, and I'm just asking for people out there to throw tickers at me, and we're going to talk about them. Tickers that you think have momentum in them or not, and maybe a couple later on that you're kind of worried about that you might be stuck in. So we got RGSE right here. And first thing I do when I look at a stock is I want to analyze it from a year daily. So I'm going to go to and I use TOS, Think or Swim. You like that bottom, huh? Well, what we're going to do now, we're going to turn this into a yearly daily, and I'm going to look at it. And we're looking at RGSE. Now, remember, I'm delayed by 5 or 6 seconds. So, if you ask a question, I'm going to try to answer it, but I'm just going to go make a rundown on how I analyze a stock. The first thing I do is pull up a year's chart. And on this year's chart, I have 3 moving averages set up. I have what you call the 50, I have the 100, and I have the 200. I have it on daily, 1-year chart. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to erase all these trend lines, and I'm going to show you how I draw them up. First thing I'm going to do is look at the chart, and I'm going to say, hey, okay, we had a pretty bad sell-off right here, it looks like. Had kind of a little support level right around this level at one time, and that's right around 78 cents. So I got to come up here and look at my drawing tools, and I'm going to put a little trend line there. And I'm going to call that maybe at one time a low support, or I could call it a pivot point now that we've sold off below down through here. So anytime from now on, I'm going to be calling this a resistance, which was an old support at one time. So now I'm going to draw me out a little trend line and look for the bottom. And I'm thinking right around in here, right around 31 cents. Now see how I just kind of drew the bottom of them candles all the way across, and I come up with that 30. So next I'm going to look for another support area. So I'm going to kind of draw in here, and I'm going to see this little cup and bowl right here, cup and handle, and I'm going to look for confirmation all the way across on this trend line and see if I touch up a lot of bases of a lot of candles. But definitely I want to call this a little resistance right here. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to draw that right in there. And if anybody that's in the chat room, would you please type in that Jim's over on his YouTube live doing this live in case anybody shows up. And then I'm going to try to find me another resistance. And I'm going to move it up, see where this top of these bases are right in here. See how that meets up there? See how that kind of runs up there? So I'm going to go ahead and draw me another trend line right there, 39.93. Then I'm going to look for another one. And I'm seeing one right here. Seeing a little confirmation of that top of that base, top of this base. And then I see a little gap down here. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to draw a trend line right there. Then I'm going to draw me another one right here about the top of this base of this candle. See, I'm matching up here on a yearly, right about there. Comes all the way across and touches right about there. But this is if I was doing that bottom play. So we had the big breakout. It ran all the way up to here. We broke past that, what I would call a pretty solid resistance. And even right in here would be a resistance to me. So I'm going to go ahead and flop me a little trend line right there and see where it comes to. Look at that. Hit that right there. History repeats itself a lot when you're day trading stocks. You know, if anybody knows anything about history, we're kind of in the Civil War right now in this country. We got the has and the has-nots interfering with our train of thought. So there we go. We've got another trend line right about there. So that's how I find trend lines. Now I'm going to digest this on down, and I'm going to look at a couple other factors. I want to check out the news. I already know that I like this stock by looking at the yearly chart. So I'm going to look at the latest news. I want to look at see if there's been, CEO buys 85,000 shares at 54 cents. That happened on 11/19. So right there you got some insider buying going on. You got another idiot down here buying some at 38, $100,000 shares. This is a solar stock also. So anybody that's environmentalist, maybe you have solar panels at your house. This is one that you'd want to probably keep an eye on. Something that, hits your fancy. So I'm looking at all the, and I know if I've done my study on this stock, and I know that they're wanting to hit the American market real strong. So I know they're going to start, competing with Tesla and their shingle program. And this is a solar shingle technology that this company has. And a lot of times when I'm looking at something like this, I'll type in the ticker right in here, RGSE, and I'll pull up the stock on Wahoo Finance, and then I'll look it over at the latest news on here also for another confirmation. They got an earnings conference coming up on the 7th. Oh, let me see here. Edited transcript of earnings conference call at presentation on November the 18th, which already happened. So I want to read that. And I want to just keep reading the news. And I want to check out the website too and see what the website's about. So I'll pull this website up and I'll look at it. And I see, wow, this is pretty cool, man. They got shingles that go on top of a house. So I already know all that factored in. And then I want to take and I'll look up FinViz. And I want to see what kind of float this has. FINVI Z. And I'll pull up FinBiz. I'll type in my ticker here, RGSE. Then I want to see what kind of float it has. It has a pretty big float, 76 million. So, you know, it's got a pretty good size float. So this is a stock that I want to run on momentum. So FinViz is a good app or a good website to look when you're looking up statistics. And now if I would have went to Wahoo Finance and looked up, where are we here? Statistics. And I look at their float. It tells me how many are shorted. It tells the float here is at 75 million. FinViz was at 76 million. So we're in the vicinity. We're close together. So we know that it's a big float stock. So now I've read the news and I like the news. Everything's going forward in the news. We hit a bottom here at 30 cents. We ran all the way up to that resistance level at 79, 78. We bounced a little bit above it, so I'm going to put me another resistance line here, right here, and I'm going to show you. I'm going to magnify this up. I'm going to magnify this up, and I'm going to draw me another trend line right here. See, the base of that. I don't go with the wick. I don't go with the wick. I'll use the wick as it maybe that'll when the selling pressure will start coming in. But I want to beat them to it. I want to get out of the stock before anybody else wants to get out. So I get out in the heat where I'm guaranteed I'm going to get out of this stock. So you got that base at 84 cents. So the next time I'm looking at it now and I see the 200, we failed the 200 and we're going to go down here to the, I would say maybe the 50 SMA at 43 cents would be my low. Because we started to sell off here, you see. You're seeing the signs of weakness. You're seeing signs of weakness. And you saw that sign of weakness right up here once we broke past that 200 SMA. And that would have been my exit point. But I would have got out here, me, as an experienced trader, because I know the sign of weakness is coming. Because I've already passed my resistance level of 78 cents. Okay? So I'm thinking right now in my heart that it's time for me to start taking profit, wait for the pullback, and get back in it, because I'm still bullish on this stock. So I've seen a couple little support levels right here. I'm going to put one trend line right here, right at about 54 cents. And I'm going to bring another one up here. See how I'm kind of meeting up with these candles. So I'm going to put me another little trend line right there. And maybe have another pullback right here. And that's how I get all clustered up with these, you know. It might look like nonsense now, but let me tell you something. History repeats itself. So if I can take this back down to this 50, where I have a double confirmation on this trend, which had a little top right here, which has given me a solid support on RGSE. And for anybody that's not paying attention, pay attention now. So if we dip down Monday or Tuesday or next couple of days down to this 43 cent area, that's going to be a confirmation for me to want to get back in this trade. If not sooner. If I start and see what we have here, we have weakness still. We have this big red candle. And I'm looking at a day. These are days. These are days. I'm looking at a day, and I'll bring this down to another level here in a second. So I'm thinking we're in probably, you know, and sometimes I have like a 5-day rule. So in my heart, I would love to see this on the last day come right down here to around 43, and the momentum and the volume's still there. I'm going to jump in it. So I'm going to magnify this now to a 20-day and look at it differently. See, it's a whole different look. The moving averages change. Everything changes. So I have to have a different perspective when I look at this stock now. I'm very bullish on it. We called this thing down here, and it's ran up almost 300%. And this is a penny stock. Now this thing can run up, and let me pull this year's chart. I'll show you. This sucker can run right back up into this area again, and then maybe start hitting some of these resistance levels when the summer starts to come in, or maybe even sooner. But right now we had the great run, so we're going to get a pullback, and we want it to pull back to this moving average. Somewhere in here. I want to see it in here somewhere. If I can see it in there, I'll probably get back in it. So I'm going to pull up the daily one more time, and then we're going to be done with it. And I'm going to see if I can draw a couple more trend lines in this thing of support level. So I'm seeing a little bit of consolidation right in here. Then I see some more right here where it topped up. Then I'm seeing it touch down here. So I'm seeing a pretty good confirmation that we're going to have another support, low support, right around 51. And then maybe, if we're lucky, we can get in at 50. So these are going to be the three support levels I'm going to be looking at come Monday. They consolidated very well all day long here at the 49.50 level. Okay, so if it pulls back to that level and the volume's still there and I start seeing some green on the tape, and what I mean on toss by the tape, time in sales, and that's going to be in this thing right over here, and then I'll have my level 2 and my news hooked up. And I'll be watching the level 2 too, and I want to make sure the spread is not very big. And when I mean spread, like the bid be at 40 cents and the ask be at 57, we've got a pretty tight spread right now. It's at 56.57, which is telling me we're going to have some good buying pressure coming in. Okay? When that spread's wider, you're going to have selling pressure come in. Let me repeat, when that spread is wider, you're going to have selling pressure. So after hours, we went from 50 all the way up to 56. So we're on our way up. We're on our way up by looking at a daily. So if it pulls back any, I want it to pull back to the 50 and maybe the 200 for a strong buy. And that's about it. That's basically how I think when I look at a trade. I go through all of them. I start with the year, and I'll digest them down to maybe a 20-day, and I'll start drawing new trend lines, and then I'll go to the day, and I'll draw a couple more. And then, you know, by this time I already know, I've already read the news, because the first thing I'm going to do is look at the year chart and look at the news. And if there's no catalyst, if there's no news, I'm not going to be that overwhelmed to play it. But I still will look at the past, and if they have a good projection into the future, that could give me, and the earnings were good, that can still give me an idea to get in. Maybe there's some news out there that I'm not finding that just popped up, or so I'm going to go to other references besides TOS to look for the news. Hey Trevor, so that's RGSE. I hope I was able to help you out with a little bit on that one. And the next one we're going to talk about, I had a request for, was TYME. So I want to welcome everybody in here. I got my old high school buddy in here, Richard Stacy. I've known for ever since I was 16 years old. Him and I have been through a lot of good times. He's not a day trader. He's retired. So once it hits 50, that's going to be your support level. For now, George. At 50 cents. You see what I'm saying? Because it consolidated all day yesterday at 50. And then we had the little bounces up. And, you know, that's not much of a spread. But if you buy 5,000 shares at 50 cents and sell it at 53, that's $150. Or if it drops, you know, That could be a $150 loss on 3 cents. But you got to know, you know, that we're bullish on this stock. But we're at a we're at a point where it's pulled back from that high, and it's going to probably start getting ready to bounce once, you know, the market starts going green again. But we're definitely bullish on RGSE because it's a solar stock. We know it's starting to hit the USA markets, and I'd love to see a lot of these houses that have been burnt down in California. They've got a law in California that, if I remember right, there's a certain percentage of the houses have to have solar shingles on them. So this is something we want to keep on watch for maybe, you know, a couple years, because we're here at the bottom right now, and we're bouncing up. So the next stock we're going to talk about is going to be TYME, TYME. And the next person that puts a ticker in the chat on YouTube, that's the one we're going to look at. So you have your chance to throw a ticker in there real fast. Oh, George, hi, Jim. Take a good look. Give me an insight on INNT. Okay. Too late. So after we do TYME, we'll go to INNT. And I want you people to write my numbers, have a pencil and paper next to you, and write down these tickers. And I want you to tell me, okay, shut up. So I want you to just compare of what I'm telling you now and what happens here next week on these stocks, and let me know if I was wrong or right. That way I can learn too. So like I said, I'm going to get rid of all this crap. I'm going to pull up a year's chart. I'm looking at TYME right now. I'll type it in the room. Time after time. You've heard me sing that live on voice. Look at that. Okay, I'm seeing a couple beautiful things about this chart. And I'm seeing that we've hit a resistance, which is a yearly, probably pivot point channel that I have right in here between 436 and 453. Now these old red trend lines on here I've had on here for a long time. Remember I've told you about history? Okay? This is before last year, or it could have been at the beginning of the year when I was using the red lines, and then when I got in this room I started using the yellow because I wanted to prove to myself that history repeats itself. So we had a big breakout at the first of the year, seeing hard resistance right up here around 730. See that? My next one's going to be right around here where you got that double top. Then it failed and probably got bad news on that day. So I'm going to draw a trend line right there for now. I've got my 3 moving averages on here. I see that we had a big breakout on this stock here in the last 6 days, and we've been calling this, you know, every time something pops up on the scanner, it's something you want to look at. And if you caught in on this first bounce, we hit a resistance right there. Then it pulled back that next day and it bounced on up. And every time it pulls back, it bounces off these bases, and I'm going to magnify this up. You see, we had this first breakout, and then that next day, it kind of consolidated off the 200 SMA. See how it hit that 200 SMA? Okay? Then it bounced up above that base, but did not break the wick, and pulled back and hit that 200 SMA. Then the next day, it bounced the base right here on that candle, created a support or a resistance. And then once it went past and it broke out, it hit my next trend line that I had drawn last at the beginning of the year, and look right where it landed. Look right where it landed. And then it continued on up to my next trend line that I had 6-7 months ago on here. Each time it created strength. You see the base of that candle? You see how the next day it started on the base of that candle? It went up. And then the next day it did the same damn thing. That's strong. Now, keep in mind, at the beginning of this run, it was only down here at 216, and it ran all the way up to 440. Once it ran up to 440, I would probably not have been in this stock if I swinged it. I'd probably been out, but I would have been flipping this every day. Every day, once it made a confirmation that it held that top of that base. So it ran all the way up, and then here we created a doji, which is a confirmation. Maybe we're going to have a small little correction. But the next day, another doji comes in, another green doji. So this is a real strong stock right now. But I don't want to stop here. I want to go back to that year one more time. And I'm going to say to myself, right here was a pretty solid resistance. Right here at 408. You see where we tried to do that once before and it failed? And it came back down? So you got to imagine, and you got to think, maybe we've hit the run. Maybe the run's over. Maybe it's time to take some profit and wait for a pullback. So if I'm going to look for a pullback on this stock, I'll be looking in two areas. I'll be looking right in here at 344. And the reason I'm looking there is because I got confirmation of this high, and this high is giving me a confirmation. Maybe right around 345 is going to be support on this stock. And if it holds, that'll be great. If not, you're going to have a lower support around 319. So already in my mind, I'm thinking, okay, we've had the great run that needs to cool off and consolidate. And it hasn't consolidated yet. So I'm going to look for a pullback. And then I'm going to keep an eye on my moving averages too. And they're all down here. So, you know, this sucker could drop back down to 266. And that'd be a real strong buy. That would be what I would call a low support. So I'm going to bring this now to a daily, 20-day. We've had a great run. Bottom was right around 193 in 20 days. And we ran all the way up to 443. Showing a little sign of weakness right here on this flag. I'm going to magnify that up. But I'm seeing a little sign of weakness. See? So I'm thinking we're going to come back down and hit this sucker for sure, 379. Maybe hit that 50. So now this is when it really gets nice. I'm just going to look at a daily 1 minute. I'm kind of seeing a trend, but here we are. We pulled back. Like I said, I didn't see it at 403. So we pulled back a little bit right there to support. So I've already played it. I'm out of it. So I'm going to be patient with it. I'm going to let it pull back. And I'm going to try to find a support. And yesterday's support was right around 388. So I'm going to come in here tomorrow. I'd like to see this thing right down at 388, maybe right around 395. I'm going to have two places where I might want to get in it for a flip, a scalp. I'm not going to swing it because it's already had its good run. And the news is great, so, you know, it keeps piling on the good news. So 388 is going to be my low support, and write this down on paper. 395 up to 403. So that's TYME. And what was that? INNT and TEUM. TEUM, and I'm going to take a drink. Okay, I'm going to change my chart to a year. But remember, like I said, about history and how it repeats itself, and how a basketball can bounce up, and how it can deflate, and gravity can take control. See what I mean by gravity? Every time it dips, it bounces up a little bit, and dips a little more, bounces up a little bit, and dips a little more, bounces up a little bit, and finally hits bottom and just kind of settles. You see what I'm saying? Then we're shooting the hoops again, you know. We're passing it around the field. You got 5 people playing this game. Now we're bounced back up, and here we go again. Gravity takes over. And there's a lot of things in life that you can run with as being a day trader. A lot of experience, a lot of history in your life can repeat itself on how you think, on how you're going to trade. So INNT's next. And I'm gonna post Jim's live on YouTube and Stock Twitch real fast. See if we can get some freaks in here. Maybe get some new followers doing it. Okay. So INNT is what we're going to look at now. I got this thing all clustered up with my lines, so we're going to, and here we was playing this channel before last year, and I can't remember the last time I used these arrows, so that had to have been, well, I guess it was to that day there. That's probably right when I started using the yellow lines. So I'm going to erase all this crap on here. I hate to get rid of them red ones, but I'm going to do it anyway, because I got to get a clear picture of what's going on here. I'm looking at INNT right now. INNT. So there we are. Oh, I like freaks too. We'll see what happens. I have a lot of freaky friends. Okay, so we're seeing a bottom. We had a day low. This is a bottom yesterday. We had a low of 221. So I'm going to go ahead and draw that trend line right in here. And I'm looking, you know, we hit a bottom here and bounced up big time. Pulled back, hit that 200 SMA. Showed a sign of weakness right here when the 50 crossed down. So I would probably sold that sucker right in here. But it went ahead and ran on up. Still showing signs of weakness. And then all of a sudden, there was a reason for that weakness, because you had a big drop. So I'm going to draw a couple more trend lines on here. And I'm looking over here. I'm going to magnify this up. I'm going to try to find what I think is a resistance from that bottom. And I'm looking right about there. Okay, that's right around 296. The next one's going to be right around 344, because I see these 3 candles right here kind of hugging together. Then I'm going to put another one right about in here. You see how it touches them two wicks? Maybe a little higher it could go. Then I'll have my last one right around 432. And that's right where the 50 SMA is. So I'm going to take another look at this, and that last SMA hit more or less of a support level back in here. See? Right back there. And it's the same thing up over in here. So definitely this thing can bounce up to that area and run into that 50. But now I'm going to look at news. I want to see what kind of news we got, what kind of company this is. And I'll go to my Wahoo Finance, and I'll go to my FinViz, and I'll see what kind of float it is. Agent Joe, good. So, cap updates, disease clinical program on NASH development, Massachusetts hospital. I'm just kind of reading through the news. Last news I got was on the 4th. So I'm going to read it, see if it's anything big. I'm reading it. I'm okay with it. I want to read this about this clinical trial here. So I'm pulled up my news, and I'm reading it. Stage of biological, okay, investors. Disease clinical program, NASH development strategy scheduled for December the 17th. So something's coming up on the 17th. Clinical stage biological company focused on developing novel medicines for autoimmune and inflammatory diseases announced today it has scheduled an investor update on December the 17th. So they're going to be talking to their investors. They're going to tell them what's going on with this company. That's good news to always keep your investors informed. So I read the news, and I'm happy with that. Now I'm going to digest it to a 20-day chart. Now I'm going to try to look for a couple other areas which I can find as a resistance. So I'm sitting here looking, okay, see, this is a weak 221. I want to try to find a stronger support. And that support right now could be right between 232 and 236. Okay? You see what I'm talking about there? Then I'm going to draw a next level of what I think support could be, or resistance. And now it's going to be resistance because we're above the price. Then I'm going to draw a couple more trend lines in here. And I'm seeing these match up. See, I'm looking for things that match up all the way across here. Bam. I hit, oh, not a bam enough. And I see these right over here, so I'm just going to bring it down to that level right there. That's what I'm going to call a resistance, and then I'm going to bring one more right about in there. So now I'm going to bring it up to a daily 1 minute. And I'm going to see how these line up. I got a little spot right here that I need to draw a trend line on. See this? It ran up and hit that support, then went up a little bit, hit it again, then failed. And then it failed. And then I see one right here I'm going to put right at 225 and right there at 245. And that runs right into that. And this is a daily 1 minute. And we're starting to get a little bullish pattern here. You see this? You see that? And you see this golden cross starting right there. Oh, not there. It's the golden cross starting right there. So if this thing breaks above the 2, and look here, we're at 245 right now. So it already knows this thing's going up. INNT, and we had a bottom yesterday. So I'd like to see this sucker go all the way up to around 269. That would be my resistance. Maybe if I wanted to sell it early, I'd probably get out right around 266 or maybe 264, especially if I'm in down here at 238. I want to get out during the heat. So I'm bullish on INNT right now, definitely. Knowing that we hit a bottom, knowing we got it started of a golden cross and that 50's rising up. You see what happened over here when the 50 started to break. See? You got all the way up here. And then it kind of pulled back. So you kind of sometimes are a little late to the action. But me, as I would have got in definitely down in this area at the time. And then we pulled back to that same support level. So that would have been another re-entry for me. See, I've had confirmation. It came out, pulled back. And that's what I mean. Sometimes you'll have a fake out. Good entry right around 232 would be perfect for this sucker. That's right, George. You're seeing what I'm seeing. See? You see where it touched down and it bounced up? And maybe if it's really going strong, I might just take it to this moving average of 236. I'll be following the moving averages too. Also my trend lines. I love my trend lines. But after the trend lines have done their job, and maybe on a pullback, I would probably look at them again. But then I'd start using the moving averages. So, anybody get on here from Stock Twitch, say hi. Or anybody that's on YouTube that picked up, say hi. That's not in the chat. I'm bringing it live on YouTube today. So the next one we're going to look at, so we got support level, and we got an entry level, and we got an exit on INNT. You know I'm bullish on it. So any kind of pullback, I'd probably play it. You think it'll dip again? I think it'll dip a little bit, but it's, hey, hello, Dave. Welcome to Wash Stock Watch. Washboard Jim. So yeah, any kind of pullback will be a good entry. Okay? So the next one we're going to talk about, and after I talk about this stock and I say I'm done, the first one that puts the ticker in the window will be the one that I'll study. Okay? Welcome. So I'm going to say this one more time. After I get done with this next ticker and I say next, the first one that puts the ticker in the window will be the one that gets looked at. So we're going to look at TEUM. And I'm going to write down next so I won't forget it. I smoked way too much pot in my lifetime. Okay, NEXT. Oh, see what I'm saying, idiot? I typed in NEXT. Oh, I got an alarm set on this. I have a bullish trend. I got an alert. I got a custom TTM trend on this one here. So let me see if I can find my TTM chart. Now that we got a new lesson, folks, we're going to talk about the TTM. Okay? There's a couple indicators on here. And TTM. This is a TTM chart. Now I'm going to draw this line all the way across. It's kind of been like a little flat line here. It's saying, you know, it's kind of been yesterday, just kind of pulled back a little bit and settled down. But we started a TTM squeeze right now. See how it finished this red line and then bam, it started bouncing above that red line. I like to see a couple confirmation dots first, kind of like in here. But this really hasn't had a big run. This might not be the perfect stock to look at a TTM chart on. But let me pull up a year. Bring this all down. We can look at it differently. Maybe I'll have a better picture. Yeah, it has a lot better picture. So I've got a yearly. Now I'm looking at a yearly. Every time frame is kind of different. So on a yearly chart, this looks pretty impressive. But it's telling me on a daily that we've got a TTM trend bearish breakout. So the last time it got down here in the red, we started hitting that squeeze, and then we had the big bounce. And I'm going to clear all these trend lines out. Oh, should I or should I not? I will. I'm going to remove the drawing set, start all fresh. Gives a better picture of it. You can see it better. See, once we started going up in the light blue, then once it started turning dark, we started seeing the selling going on, the selling pressure. See? And then it came down and had the sell-off period. And these are the kind of charts you want to look at if you're swing trading a stock on a yearly daily. So once we started to squeeze again, it bounced up. We had a little fake out here, but the confirmation was still bullish. And it ran all the way up, see? And I'm drawing the trend line all the way across. And then we had the sell-off come back in. This is called a TTM squeeze chart. And people that are in the room, I can share this script with you. And maybe you'll get an alarm with it that'll tell you when something's bullish or not. But here we had the sell-off, so I'd start thinking about getting in it right about here, or maybe even here if it's an experienced trader and he knows the stock well, because you're starting to see it bounce back up. And that's positive momentum to go up. Once we hit above it, you start hitting resistance. So maybe when you start seeing that curve coming down, that's when you want to get out of it. So that's a good indicator to say, okay, we're hitting a couple yellow, couple dark blues. It might be time to sell and wait for it to come back down again. And history just keeps repeating itself. See, you see just how it keeps bouncing up. Then we had this big long squeeze going on TEM. TEUM. So I'm going to look at the news. They filed an 8K, so I want to read about the 8K. Petroleum wins $76 million in additional 3-year agreements. That's, a new contract. Happened on 11/29. That's pretty cool. Now I'm going to just keep looking for other news. Filed another 8K. iPass and Douche strengthen their partnership. So that's another good thing. So things are looking bullish on the news here. We definitely got a big contract going on. That's always good news. So now I'm going to draw a few trend lines on here now. I'm going to look at my YouTube and see if I trade very high value stocks. Yep. I trade all kinds of stuff. I let the market dictate the way I trade, Trevor. I don't try to dictate to the market. I let and like these idiots that brought this market down yesterday to 800 points. That was perfect opportunity to be buying some of these dips because this economy is very bullish. Okay, we got 185. I'm seeing I got to look for some supports here. So we got a low support at 156. See where it dipped down here. We got another support right around here, right around 184. Then we got another one right around here, right at $2. See, I'm seeing all these bottoms that are coming in. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for places that have consolidated and bounced up, or that have consolidated and bounced down. And I'm always looking for signs of weakness. And I'm going to draw a couple more trend lines in here. See how we bounced up high here? I'm going to take this line and see what it looks like. And you can see as it goes down to the left, you're hitting a lot of different support areas. And this is at 233. Oh, right there. Okay, and then we got one more right around in here And I'm seeing this little gap in here, so I'm going to draw me a trend right there. Now I'm going to digest this on down. I'm bullish on it right now so far. I think what I said in the news, because of all them new agreements and stuff. I want to find out what this 8K is about. Compensation filing, U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission on blah, blah, blah. And I can pull up my news, and I can go to archives, and I can read this last one that came in here on 12/4. They had to say, okay, Laura Thompson submitted her resignation as independent director of TYME Corporation, the company, effective November the 28th, 2018. Mrs. Thomas did not resign as a result of any disagreement with the company in the matter relating to the company's operations. So they had to report and file this to the SEC. So someone resigned, and they're saying, and in a lot of cases that are full of crap. There's a reason why they resign. It's usually because they're not happy with the company, but they're still. You got to realize that, you know, I've always learned never talk bad about your ex-boss, because it can come back and haunt you. So they usually say personal reasons, or they want to go into something different. You know, 90% of the time they're not happy with what's going on with the company, or somebody just wants to pay them $20 million to work for them. So I'm going to go back to my moving average chart. I'm going to look at the yearly just one more time on this. And I'm still talking about TUM, so I'm going to get done here pretty soon. So we know the low support on this thing is going to be right around 156, okay? Because we hit this bottom here, and that's pretty solid. Now, if the thing starts to dip and it hits that level, that's probably where I'll get in this stock, unless there's something real bad that's going to happen. But I want to take it up, and I want to start hitting these trend lines that I've hit before, that I've called. I wanted to see if I could take it back up here to that 50, but we're showing signs of weakness on the year as that 50 drops down. So this thing can drop down some more, okay? It can drop down even another level here at 139. Right about there, 138. I got to put on a different tool. Right there. So we're still showing signs of weakness. Let's see this thing kind of pull back to about 156 for a solid support, maybe 138 for a low support. And once that happens, I want to see this 50 to start moving up. And then I want to see confirmations on the daily if I want to scalp it. So now I'm bringing it to a 20-day, and I'm going to draw me another trend line right down here where we had this bottom at 166. Then I'm going to do another one right around in here. Right about in here, you know, you see that? That's a support level. So maybe we can bring this stock back up to about 190. Well, here's another little spot right here I like. Right about in here. I'll get rid of it. Okay, there we go. Now I'm going to bring this to a daily 1 minute. I'm going to draw a trend line right here. And right there. And maybe one right here on top. So now I'm going to just look at the yearly one more time. See how clustered I got that just in a matter of minutes. I'm seeing a pretty lot of green, a lot of dark yellow in here, so I'm thinking we've kind of hit a support level. I'd like to see that happen, maybe no lower than 169 to 153. So it's still bearish in my heart, but I'm bullish on it a little bit. But sometimes when a CEO or somebody like that leaves a company, sometimes that's good news for the company. So maybe this could be a godsend for them. They'll get someone fresh and new in there. So TEUM, let's see if we can get a little more downturn on it. And then once it hits that bottom of around 156, the support of around 170, that's when we want to start looking at it. Next. Oh, we're stock we're watching tomorrow. Explain this. TRXC is the next one. TRXC and SBOT. Okay, slow down, guys. You got to wait for the next. I'm trying to make it fair. So what we're looking at is T, and from now on, I want you to use capital letters when you type these tickers in here. TRXC. Any's going to be a caca. You better take that off your watch list. I heard they might have an offering coming out again. We'll play the bottom after that offering hits. Excuse me a second. Okay. Oh yeah, I'm liking this chart. TRXC. We're starting to hover back into my old support areas. Had a beautiful breakout. Just beautiful. Pretty. And then we had the major sell-off. We found support down here around 261. Okay? Showing signs of weakness right in here. So maybe once this 50 touches the 200, we could probably get a bounce up. So I'm kind of analyzing, thinking maybe this will pull back to about 291, a little under $3, and then rotate back up. Now notice, if you're playing this stock, it's disrespected both the 100 and the 50, but now it's starting to respect a little bit of this 200 SMA. You see how it touched that 200 and then failed? Came back to support. This is TRXC. So I think we've kind of hovering down here in a channel, bottom channel, a very low support. It's going to be right around 262. I want to look at the news. Price target to $5 from 6, maintains outperformed rating. So does anybody know what outperformed rating is? I'm going to put in the definition real fast for you guys. Okay, where are you? Wow, what happened here? Too many numbers. Too many words, so I'll just read it to you. Since the performance of many investments are compared to a benchmark index, Outperform prefers to a higher return on an investment than a particular benchmark in over time. Outperform also refers to an analyst rating on a security. It is a better rating than neutral and worse than a strong buy. So it's like a pivot point. Okay, so it's bullish in a way, but yet not 100% bullish. So that's going to be that. We're going to look at this. Everybody get that? Yeah, we're definitely going to talk about AETI again. I talked about it first, but I want to go ahead and repeat it because I think a lot of people are interested in this stock. So we know the news. We're going to look at earnings down here, okay? Common stock, EP, earnings per share is 10 cent, misses 7 estimate. Sales were 542, that beats 527, so that's pretty good. You know, the revenue was pretty good on this thing last quarter. So that's pretty good news. So we got support right around 288. I think it's going to run up and hit that 200 again. Let's see if we can get in it at 288 and run it back to 365. Now this stock's worth $5 to a lot of them fat cats up on Wall Street, but please, they don't know nothing. I guarantee this market is rigged. I didn't ever think that until the last couple of years, but now I know it is now. So let's take it. Let's see if this, and then you got a low support right down here at 261 if that 291 fails. So entry will be under $3, and that's TRXC. Next. Next. For the new ones are in here, when I holler next, I want to see a ticker. The first one that pops in the window is the one I'm going to look at. LMFA, did that just pop up, George? Did George beat you? Okay, we're going to do two. We're going to do LMFA and SBOT. That it popped up on the scanner, I think, this week. So let's pull up a year's chart. Let's get rid of this news so I can get a good, clean picture. LMFA, bottom play, yabba dabba do. I've got this pretty well trended out too, it looks like. Let me see what we got going on here. Wow, definitely hit a bottom there at 127. Got a gap to fill right in here. Let's look at the news. Detailed economics perspective and drives growth in today's competitive landscape. I want to see what this company does real fast. I'm going to go into my LMFA. The float on this is 79 million. So it's got a pretty good sized float on it. I'm going to go to Wahoo Finance. I'm going to check out, see if we got any news. Go to the summary. Gains, okay. They looked like they regained compliance 21 days ago. That's good news. Announces closing upsize 6 million underwritten public offering. So that's closed. That's good news. Funding subsidiary. Let me see what operates. A specialty finance company, provides funding for nonprofit community associations. I'm not too excited about that. Let me read that again. Finance company that provides funding for nonprofit community non-profit companies. Why would you want to invest in a company that doesn't want to show profit? That would be my question that I asked myself. That's why they went delinquent. That's why they keep having to borrow money and have offerings, because they're not making profit. So that's that. That's just my opinion. Everybody has an opinion. So let me look at the, now that I know the news, I'm going to look at the yearly chart one more time. We're definitely at a bottom. So I'm bearish on this one right now, definitely. I just don't feel, my gut's telling me that we're definitely probably hit a bottom. We got a double bottom right here where it hit and it bounced up. So we have another bottom right here. So yeah, I think this thing can probably run up to the, it probably will. Let me repeat that. It probably will run up back up to 142 if it doesn't hold this 124. So we want, if we see another day at 124, that's okay. But here in a couple of days, I want to see it start bouncing up to that 50 SMA. I want to see it bounce up to 140, 144. That's where I'm, or maybe right in here even at 139. Okay? So this will be a scalp play, not a swing trade. I would probably flip it in and out. I got to see the tape, and I got to see the volume. And we're at an RSI crossover right down here, so that's positive. That could be we've had a little fake out, maybe a couple more lines, and then boom, we could see it go up. Bounce up to the 139 level. And that's LMFA, and I'm going to just look at the daily to close it up. I'm going to put a new resistance right here at 135 and maybe 131. So yeah, what you're going to have here is you're going to have a little bounce, and it's just going to kind of putter around up and down for a while. Now, the float didn't look small at all on it. Let me look at it one more time. Yeah, the float here says 79 million. Or 70, yeah. Ain't that right? I'll find out for sure. We'll get a double comparison. Oh, it is a low floater. Yeah, take that back, man. 1.9 million. Maybe I was reading that wrong. Maybe it was under a million at 7,900,000 or something. So yeah, it's a low float. I take that back. Thanks for correcting me. You see right here on finance, 1.9 million. Yep. Okay, George. 790,000. Yep. That's right. So we got a small floater. So let's watch this one. We kind of hovering around that support area at 127. Let's see if we can take this up to the different levels of 136, 135, and maybe 139. Okay, you see those moving averages right there? Those are the ones we want to hit. That's probably, if we pass them moving at 134 and take it to 139, that's probably where I'll get out. No, you're kind of stuck in it, huh? So what you want to do is cost average down when you think you're ready. So the next one we're going to talk about is going to be SBOT. And like I said before, man, if I'm giving you these quotes, I'd like to hear some kind of feedback later on how it turned out. Because you'll remember them better than I will. As in an individual, I go through so many of them. SBOT's next. Bought at 136. Okay. I think you're safe. I think you're safe. Yep. Low float bottom play. So now I'm looking at SBOT. Wonder if it's related to MBOT. Could be brothers and sisters. And I'll tell you what. Damn, I let this coffee go cold on me. Horrible. I think I'm going to make ice cubes out of that. Give me a second here before I start in on SBOT. I got to get my coffee right. Take a break if you have to use the pisser, or take a one hit, or whatever it takes. I'll be right back. Give me about a minute. Okay. All right. I'm just reading through a few messages here. I'm gonna put a little coffee in my thing here, and then we'll just talk about SBOT. Vegas. I have to get Vegas on here with me. Got to figure out how I can get two people on here to talk. Oh, man, I'm getting down to the nitty-gritty. I'll make this one espresso and tell me not to forget my coffee here. Okay. Back at it again. SBOT. Drawing a couple trend lines in here to add to the upper resistance because we got some momentum on SBOT right now. I'm going to look at the news. Biotech had a 10.3 in cash equivalent. They got money. Up 16% after hours on the 30th. EPS was 176. Ooh. Sales weren't that good. Sales weren't too good. So that's kind of a bummer. That's probably why it sold off down here at the bottom 90 cents. Probably because the sales weren't too good, but we're rebounding up. What I'm looking at, I think this thing's going to pull back to $1. This will be a good stock for small accounts to play. I want to keep an eye on the volume come Monday or come tomorrow. I'm going to get, because it did pop up on the scanner a couple times. You see where it popped up and ran up to that 143 resistance. So the next day it kind of created a little doji right here. So let's give it, and that's kind of a resistance right there at 114. You see the top of this base of this candle here. Right around 112. Okay, so that's going to be your support level. And it looks like we hit it, touched up, and it bounced up from that. So the low support's going to be right around $1. We want to keep it above $1. Anything below $1 will be a buy. Right around 92 cents maybe. A strong buy. And this is SBOT. And what I'm seeing is I'm liking the last run we had it on week. So let's get one more day of pullback and see if it wants to bounce. That's what I'm seeing. I'm going to look at the 20-day. Yeah, this is pretty good. We had the sell off. Then we had the bounce. Consolidated, hit support, bounced up again. Now it's pulled back, hit gravity. So this, we're going to look at the daily 1 minute. Whoa, we're down here at 105 after hours, so there you go. Okay. We're pretty much at a buy level right now. Let's see if we can get this down to about under to 102 and create a support there. And once it bounce back up to this level right here. So this would be a scalp. If the volume's still there and the momentum's still there, we can scalp this back up to about 114. Maybe in this area, in this channel right here. Okay? That's SBOT. Yep, sure enough. Okay, I'm getting ready to say the word. Next. Tops, yes. Anybody listens to me about tops, they know I'm the master of tops. And CIDM's next. Okay, I can talk about tops. I can talk about tops. Tops. Called tops in the room at 99 cents yesterday. Now, tops is a stock that I'm really bullish on when it gets down to this level. I think tops ran pretty good here just recently. If you remember, let me see here. We'll add 10 million to backlog, so they're still getting money in. I'm going to pull up the years chart. That's always what I like to look at first. That don't tell me much. So then I'll go to a 20-day. Let's see if I can bring this up to maybe a different time frame. 180 days. We'll do 4 hours. So tops, 180 days, we had a big top right here at about 339. Okay, I remember that run real well. We have a little support right around 250. Oh, I can change this a little bit here. Right there. And then another one right there. You see, I got this thing charted up pretty good. So I called, in the room, I called tops under a buck. And we hit that, and we started bouncing up. Now, there's a couple little places I really like on this stock as resistance. It used to be around 115, but I moved it up to 117 to 118 right now, and that's right around where the 50 SMA is on a 3-month chart. Okay, so I'm bullish on tops. It's a buy under a buck. I would take it up to 118, and then that's where I would consider a resistance. I'd probably keep a small core position and try to run it up to 130, and that would be your solid resistance. And that's an old resistance that I had, but maybe right before, and that's right at 130. And I'm going to pull up a 20-day chart on tops, and it can run up higher, but this 130 spot is a pivot point to me and a resistance, especially if I get in down here at a buck. That's a 30-cent flip. You buy 1,000 shares, that's 300 bucks. So we got 3 different resistances. Put this on paper. We got the bottom at a buck, 110, 118, and then 130. And here between the 118 and the 130, you'll have a little congestion. Maybe you'll probably see about a 123 where it will consolidate and pull back. But we will, if we get to 130, that's where you want to do your exit. Or get it on the way up. But I'm very bullish on this stock, especially when it pulls back like this. And I call these bottom plays, and when I call a bottom play, I'm usually pretty much right 80% of the time. So that's tops. Keep it definitely on watch, and anytime it's under a buck, it's a strong buy. And CIDM's next. I was forced to swing yesterday. Oh, it dipped on you, huh? Yes, we have. I've played tops probably more than anybody I know. I've talked about tops ever since I started trading. So I've been trading tops for a long time. CIDM. And get ready when I go next, and then we're going to take a small little break. Okay? And then Vegas and I will probably do something together. I gotta see what, I'm going to send her a message right now. No, she hasn't left yet. She's dolling herself up. Are you heading out, Richard? I'm not leaving yet. Heck, we might get involved in some more. So here's CIDM. Looks to me like I've already kind of played around with this sucker a little bit. I'm going to try to find me a couple trends here. See, you've been watching how I've been drawing these trend lines in here. You know, I try to match them up as best as I can. So let's look at the yearly chart on it. Oh, wow. Look at that. We had a bottom here at 79.80 cents. And this one day here, man, that would have been an opportunity if we'd have caught that 49 cents there for sure. So yeah, we've had a bottom here at 79.80 cents, and it bounced all the way up to 91 and created a good little support area there. Friday it ran all the way to 117. So I'm going to check out this news. We're definitely at a bottom, okay? And look at these spikes. You know, this is delicious. Spikes up and then dips. Spikes up and then dips. Spikes up. So maybe we're going to dip back down here a little bit. Maybe support around 85 cents. I'd like to see that 85 on CIDM if I was going to enter it. And if I was going to enter it, I would love to see 79 to 80 to buy this stock. But I'm going to look at the news now. Partnership with China. Oh, this is that China TV one. Yeah, this got some bullish sentiment to it. This was in the chat rooms. People were talking about it. So, yeah, I think we've got something. And it's a China play. So, you know how China is. That's why the market, Trump's tweets yesterday, market sold off 800 points because of his comment on tariffs. So, you got to always keep in the back of your head, keep that bearish sentiment. But always follow the volume and the time and sales, you know, in the level 2, and you might have a nice little pullback bounce play on CIDM. But yeah, this got that China news, and that was pretty good news. So maybe this could turn this stock back around a little bit, but we did have the breakout, so you got to consider it's still a penny stock, and it's China, and it's risky. So let's try to get in at a cheaper price, maybe around 80, 85 cents. It'd be a scalp. Definitely going to be a scalp play. It's not going to be a swing. You only start swinging it until you want to buy this when all the smoke has left the room, especially after a big one hit. So that's CIDM. Get ready for the word. Next. Next. Okay, slow down. Well, I'm going to do a recap on AETI. I mentioned it already. We're bullish on it. And I'm going to pull up the chart. Yeah, MTP. We've been talking about that for a while. It's still at the bottom. EDRY and MTP. Okay. I'm loving this channel on AETI. Definitely after what happened yesterday. That was so beautiful. So I'm looking at a year's chart too, and I've got this all. I don't want to get rid of any of these trend lines yet because I'm active in this stock, and I hate to erase what I've been studying for the last couple of days on this thing. But we've had a beautiful breakout from the bottom. So you always got to consider when you have something like that breaking out, man, and we didn't have that pullback that next day. You know, your heart's got to beat a little bit to think maybe you're going to get some kind of pullback support again on this and play the dip. But what we liked about what this stock did in the last couple of days is we hit that bottom at 40 cents, and then it bounced on up, and then that day was a fun day to flip this stock, and then I called that dip because we couldn't break that 150. Okay, so it pulled back to that dollar level, $1.10, and I was saying buy, 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 and then when it hit a dollar, strong buy, and it did it that morning. And then we had a golden cross, and it went ahead and bounced. And first thing out of the gate, I told the room, I said, if this thing doesn't break the 150 right out, it's going to pull back hard. And what happened, it hit that 150 and it bounced on up and went all the way a high of 172. And that was just beautiful. That was a beautiful call. And then it pulled back and hit that trend line and followed that trend line all the way up. So now I'm going to pull up a 20-day chart just to, I mean, it's not going to look like much. Oh, that was a 20-day. So there's your 10-day. You see the trend line, how it followed it. Disrespected a little bit, but it still held on. Went on up. And I got this trend line from the pre-market, or maybe right around it. I can't remember how I drew this up. I think it probably was right in here when it hit that base and that candle wick, and that's when I drew that trend line, hoping that maybe we could pull back and hit that again and bounce up, and bam, that's what happened. So what I want to see on this now, and it created what I call higher highs. See the trend, how it's created higher highs, and it created lower highs. And now we're hovering right around that trend line, just a little bit below it. So if it breaks below this trend line, I'm going to pull up the daily, 1 minute, showing just a little weakness, but yet it's the 50's trying to curl up. So I'm going to follow this trend line all the way to about 140. I'd say right in here, right around 140, 141 is going to be a support. Anything below that, you might see a small knife. It dipped down to this support level right around 127, and that'll be your entry to get back in this stock if the volume and the momentum's still there. I'm probably 80% bullish on this stock, but when you have something that runs from 40 cents up to 172, there's got to be a period where it's going to consolidate. So that's the one we're talking about. That's the one I'm done with. We had a double analysis on it. AETI and EDRY. EDRY is next. Am I right? Yep. So I'm going to pull up a year's chart. I'm going to take a sip of this coffee before it freezes on me. 27 degrees in Missouri. Yeah, this has looked like it's getting ready for a move up. We pulled back and we hit the 100 SMA right here at 867. This is EDRY. Investor Day, New York City. So I guess they got a conference coming up. Global Shipping Markets Roundtable. I'm not seeing much. Chip makers issue profit warning. Earnings per share was 62 cents. Sales was 6.79 million. Revenue rises from a year ago. Good news. Okay, so that's good. The news I'm pretty well 50%, 60% bullish on. Pulled back to support level right here around 904, and that failed. Then went to the 100 SMA, and now it's hovering right around 873, around that. had a couple good months from a bottom right in here around 670 to $7. So let's see if this thing can hold and start to rise up from here at this level. Now I have these trend lines already drawn up at 857, 860, 864. If this thing can bounce up from here, you can probably take it back up to this area right around $10 to maybe 1021, but I'm seeing a little resistance right around 943, 940.38. So yeah, I'm a little bullish on this right now. It's definitely been bearish for a good 2 weeks. Let's see if this thing can turn around come tomorrow. We start seeing some green candles, you might have a small little scalp on this baby. Hey, Vegas! I Love Stocks is here. Give her a shout out. The shopping stock. Yep. Oh, shipping. Yeah. It's definitely making profit. Now, how can I get Vegas on here? I'm going to see if I can get 2 people on here. Well, we'll figure it out. Vegas is in the building. So we're bullish on EDRY. We've kind of hit a bottom here. Let's see if we can get this thing to turn around this next week. We got a resistance right around 947. We get to that. What we want to do is hit 9, and then once we break 9, we can take it up to 947 and up a little ways. We'll figure it out next time. That's right. Vegas is jealous. She's envious because she can't be on here right now. Vegas is my team partner for anybody that's in here that's on Stock Twits. You need to follow Vegas at Vegas1 on Stock Twits. That'll be at capital letter Vegas 1 right after. And if you can put a shout out to her on Stock Twits, she sure would appreciate that. Hey Luke, how you doing? So remember, Vegas and I have teamed up for almost a year now, a little longer than a year, and she's probably one of the, I would say she probably helped me out more just teaming up with her than anybody I've ever traded with, and at a consistent basis. And I've learned bits and pieces from everybody else that surrounds us. And that's what makes it her and I a good team. She likes to talk about the companies, and I like to fill out the charts, and she's become a pretty good chartist herself. So, you can most of the time rely on her picks as most of the time you could rely on mine, but we always say do your own due diligence, do your own homework, take profit when needed. Stocks is like gravity. What comes up comes back down. And sometimes a stock can drop 7 times faster than they can go up. 99% of the time. So you always got to keep that sell button ready if you hit your targets. So what we're going to do next is MTP. Sorry about yelling next. I forgot I already had a list. Now MTP's been hitting bottom. We've been talking about it quite a bit. It's holding, consolidating pretty well down here. at 24 cents. So I've been calling solid support at 24, and anything below that, which we had a low day before yesterday at 21. Okay? Elderly's a super low float. Thank you, George. INBEV is next. Okay. We love INBEV. So now, and look here, I played this stock before when this sucker was right up here around $1. And I love the little spikes it gets. We're definitely at a bottom on this stock. Okay? So this would be something that I wouldn't put a lot of money in. I might have a starter position. I wouldn't want to throw a lot of money in it. Just start with a small position. Starter position, something that can net you, every time it goes up a penny, 20, 30 bucks. So you got to figure out what size fits you best. But I'm bullish on this stock right now because it's a great bottom play. And we tried to get up there once before 3 days ago, and it went to 28, and it's pulled back here to 24 with that low of 21. And if I'd have saw that, I probably would have jumped in this stock and bought me 5,000 shares and sold it at maybe, I'd be scalping this baby on the way up. So you got a hard resistance. Once we break past this 29 cents, 28 to 29 cents, that's where you want to start building up to this next section, this next area. I'd like to see it get up to 38, and if it really wants to run and break out and needs more catalyst, more news, we could take it up to 46. And that's right there where that 50 SMA is. So definitely MTP is a bottom play. Don't start out big. If you start seeing the momentum and the volume pick up, that's when you want to start adding to it. Joseph's drug-free and liquor-free. Well, he must have a real short sex life then. Old Joseph. Okay, next is INBEV. INBEV is bullish. Everybody knows what happened to INBEV last week. Didn't they have some kind of news? That's right, Farm Bill coming up. And they also expanded into a bunch of countries. The market is getting big, and I think they had a joint venture with somebody. I know they've expanded their portfolio big time. Merger, that's right. They had a merger. So we're definitely and we called this stock in the room at 360, guys. Okay? We called this thing at 360 and said it was a very strong buy. Vegas is all over this stock. She loves this thing. She just loves it. And when she recognizes when breakouts are coming, and I recognize when the pullbacks are there. You see, I've really played the heck out of this stock here in the past couple, ever since that last run of almost $10, and Vegas called $10. Then we had the big knife. Then within a couple of days, it bounced back up. So now we've consolidated down here at that low support, and then it got that news, and they're expanding. If you ever see their pipeline, pull up their website. Look at what they've got. I mean, they've got a heck of a pipeline. And what I like about INBEV is they have a coffee, a Marley drink. And I haven't tasted it yet, so I'm really excited about ordering me a case of it and see what it's like. But I'm a coffee drinker, and some of the best coffee comes out of Jamaica, and that's there in the Blue Mountains. I mean, the best coffee in the world. Some of that coffee that estate coffee can sell up to $50 to $60 a pound. So INBEV we're definitely bullish on, and I'm going to take you to a 20-day chart, and I'm going to try to find a support level for you to get in this thing. We definitely hit a bottom there at around 450. I called it in the room yesterday. I said we're looking like we're getting ready to get back in this thing. I'll magnify this up, just get this news out of here. Magnify this up a little bit. See, we hit that 455 and we come real close. We hit that 450. And that's when I called that knife. And from there, and you could probably jumped in it there. But once it ran back up, it pulled back and hit that 55. That was the time to get in. We can run this back up to 5. This has got a real good catalyst, 488, 5, and if we can break past 5, we want to start looking for new resistances. Once it has a good breakout, it would be consider maybe scalping it like I do, you know. But this could be a 2-day swing, but I'm in and out of this stock all the time, and that's INBEV. So I'm bullish on it. The news was great. Keep it in your pipeline. The trend's still holding well here. It pulled back. So let's see if we can get a bounce on this in the next week. Back up here to around above 5 and take it maybe to 540. And once we hit this 544, that's going to be your resistance. 544. So that's where you would just consider what if anything's driving it up to go any higher. Take your profit. Always scale out on this stock. Don't get stuck in it, because it will come back down a little bit and you'll have another chance to get back in it. So INBEV I'm bullish on, and CRON, being we're on this, I'm going to pull one up. This sucker's really pretty here. Look at that. Called this support down here right around 826 a couple weeks ago, or maybe last week. We got the news on CRON that they got that big, oh man, they had some great news that they're going to be rolling up cigarettes. They're going to be rolling up blunts and selling them with Marlboro. So if this company, they link together, this is going to be a big deal. Definitely CRON's bullish. Any knife, any pullback is an entry. Now I called this in the room Friday. I said after the breakout, when it ran all the way up to 11, almost hit 12, I said if this thing pulls back to 994, and I drew this red line in here, that's going to be your entry. And by gosh, after hours, we run right to that red line. Man, that would have been nice at 955 to get in, 995, 994. But your little resistance is right around 10 bucks. Support. So a good entry on this stock unless anything fails. It's bullish right now, 100%. It can pull back a little bit. If it does, it'd be a good entry. So keep CRON on watch. This is really going to be a hot stock. This could be another TLRY, TLRY. And I'm going to bring that one up real fast, because being we're on the roll here. Washboard Jim calls this every time under 100 bucks, and it bounces up. We've been showing some weakness here in the last 7-8 days, but we're still hitting support right at $100. Now I mentioned this in the room a couple weeks ago, and this sucker, I wish I'd have held it all the way up. I had only like 30 shares of this stock at $104, or it was right around 100. It was down here. It was down at $100, and it ran all the way up to $143. It was a beautiful day for that stock, and if I'd have held them 30 shares, that would have been 40 bucks a share. Do the math. In 2 days, in just a small account, you could brought that account up 1,200 bucks. So we pulled back, and every time it hits that 100, that's a buy signal for me. And I call this stock Hillary, not Tillery. So if you ever hear me say, Hillary's on fire, that's the one you want to get in. So yeah, so that would be, this could be, like I said with CRON, this could be another TLRY. CRON could. And I called TLRY out at 24 bucks and it ran all the way to 300. So we've pulled back and we've hit a support, solid support under 100 bucks. So keep TLRY on watch and learn how to play it yourself. Don't follow me. You just do your own homework and see what you think. Okay, I'm going to yell that magic word out and then I'm going to take a small break. And I hope I've helped educate a little bit in here. And TRXC, did I already talk about that one? Nope. I'll do one more. TRXC. Means you said pretty, Sam. Sam, I am. TRXC. And I've got it charted up too already, man. I had a couple more trend lines in here. We got an old support system right down here, right around 302. An oversold area, TRXC, is at 291. So I'm going to pull up a year's chart. Yeah, this is a bottom play. This thing's had a pretty good little run right here, man. It's from 127 this year all the way up to 7 bucks. That's quite impressive. And everything it goes, and look at these channels that it has. I mean, this is pretty nice how they come up and how they come down, and then they bounce right back up with higher highs. And then the last couple months, we kind of had a hard sell-off. I wonder if that was news. So I'm going to look in here. We'll look at this date. Oh, 9/20. What? 9/25. Medical surgery technology. Medical. This is a medical stock, I take it. Requires surgery technologies asset. Oh, this is okay. Just invested some money is what they done. Got all kinds of good news coming. Third quarter revenue, 5.4 million. Announces 4 in its sales of sometime. Here's third quarter sales was 5.4 million versus 5.39, up a little bit. Okay, had cash, 72 million in cash. That's not bad. Yeah, it's got money already. Yeah. Okay, here's the third quarter loss at 10 cents a share. EPS 10 cents a share, misses 7. Estimate sales of 542. Oh, sales were up. That's good. Yeah, this is a good stock. TRXC, you're at a bottom play right now, is what I'm assuming. So I've got all my trend lines on here. I don't want to see it get down into the red. That'll be horrible. We just touched the red right here and it bounced right off of it. Now, like I said before, these red lines, they're old. Okay? And I'm still relying on them old trend lines. They bounced up from that 288 support. So if this thing pulls back, it'll pull back to that 280, 290 area and bounce right back up. You could have a nice little channel on this stock right here, guys, gals. You got a little channel right in here that I kind of like. So this could be a nice little channel play and then a breakout. This little channel. You see what I'm talking about? If you can get down here on this trend line or right around 301 and run it up to 365 and hit that 200 SMA, you'll be making some pretty good money on that. And then maybe it's not going to want to pass that 200 and drop back down again. We have some weakness here on the 50 coming down, but we've hit a bottom. And a lot of times, you know, I can see things before the moving averages even start to do their move. But I like playing the moving averages if I'm in a scalp or a swing trade. I'll just run them up to the moving average and exit. So I'm bullish on TRXC, bottom play here right around 302, and a real low support right around 359 if it doesn't hold that 293. Okay, 293 is going to be your low channel of support. You can flip it to 330, 333, and maybe run it up to the 200 SMA on a yearly daily chart. Now I'm going to bring it down, cut it down to just a daily. Just want to have a double preference here. Oh, got to get rid of that. Remove that drawing so I can see better. So yeah, see it run up after hours to 318. That's beautiful. And that's would be one of my resistances right there if I got down in here at this $3 level. Okay. So there's your supports. Write it down on paper. You got 303 with your first support right around 310. Pivot point right around 320. Resistance. And then you can start fumbling around and looking for your third and fourth and fifth, first, second, third resistance. So we got one right around here at 323, another one right around here at 327, and one right around 330. So yeah, let's see if we can take this back up to 334. And anything above that's going to be a gift. That's TRXC. Well, I hope everybody had a good time today. I'm going to take a little break and go back into chat. I really enjoyed doing this. Next time I get on here and we do this live, Vegas will be with me in our I Love Stocks channel. I want to go ahead and post that in the room here so anybody that's not in the room can follow us on I Love Stocks. Please subscribe to that channel. You can subscribe to this one too, but I want you to really subscribe to I Love Stocks. That's our channel that Vegas and I do our aftermarket updates in. And give me a second here. And copy and paste. Where the heck are we, Jimbo? CBD. I guess I got an encore. But yeah, please subscribe to that YouTube channel that Vegas and I have been. We want to try to get us up to 1,000. We've only had this going for a couple months, maybe less. But her and I really get into this, and we really enjoy helping out, especially beginners. Sometimes experienced traders don't know everything either, and it's good for them to get on here too. But definitely, would you please subscribe to that channel and watch a few of them videos. Vegas is going to be on a vacation here for the next couple of weeks, so we probably won't be posting that many, but I'll probably be coming on here, maybe bringing a guest or two to talk with me. So I'll keep it going. And it's just not the same without her, though. She's a big part of that channel. That's why her name goes first. So now I'm going to look at CBD real fast. The float on this is 155 million. Stock's at 21.88. So got a big float on it. Close to it anyway. Pull up a year's chart. Oh yeah, this is beautiful. And don't ever believe what analysts tell you. Let me see what this company does real fast. Where's this thing located out of? It's got a weird name. Is that French? Spanish or whatever that is. Mexican? Relationship with investors. Now, what stock did you mean? Portuguese, okay. Ha! Trevor, you're a bad man. Hey, Jim, could you check out a CBD or weed stock? Yeah, we just typed in a bunch of them. CRON. Oh, HMPQ is one I like, but yeah, CRON. My favorite ones in the weed sector is CRON, INBEV, CGC, TLRY, CANN, HMPQ, Pura, PURA. Those are just a few that I like. Take notes. You let me know how that turned out, Trevor, on RGSE. We're bullish on it. Play the pullbacks. Yeah, Trevor, we talked about TLRY and INBEV already. You know I'm bullish on them. CRON, add that to your list. Add CRON. Oh, heck, I can read mistyped words. Let me see if I can find my pot stock watch list. I haven't looked at it in a while. It seems they've been I've just had 3 or 4 on my. There it is. I'm going to name off a few of them. ACB is another one that's, I think, at the bottom. ACB. And a penny stock that I like to keep an eye on is CANBB. Oh, David's Tea is undersold. That's another one you'd like to check out. It's not a big bouncer, but I think it can. The day will come where it will bounce good. That's DTEA. I've got INBEV. A leaf is cheap right now. A leaf, ALEAF at 115. GWPH I also like. That's a bigger ticker. And HMPQ, I like it under a penny. 8 cents is a wonderful buy on that stock for a small scalp. LBuy is another one that I like that I think is cool. If you've ever seen LBuy, I mean, it's not running or nothing, but I definitely, let me see here. This was kind of a cool company. But this site, what I liked about this site here, Leaf Buyer, the deals, dispensaries, products, it's a platform that gathers a lot of information, a lot of places, a lot of ideas, places to buy weed. It talks about different, this guy's asking me if I'm old enough to be on here, but it has different locations where you can buy all this stuff. It's like an Amazon of pot stocks. I mean of stores and products. You can go to all these different websites and check them out, or you can, which I kind of, it's a very informative little website. It has the different stores that you can buy at. Am I older than 21? Yes. It has a place you can buy your bongs, real high dollar bongs. And this is called LBuy. So this is something you want to do your own due diligence on. You get hand pipes. It's just a good supply place that you can buy online with. So let's look at this chart on this thing real fast. I think we're getting down here to a support level again. Right around here at 65 cents. Looks like a pretty good support. We're at 70. We kind of touched down there. So this is something to keep on watch. Strong growth, 60% growth in last quarter alone. 67% increase in growth. So, it's new. It's building up. I think the more it gets out there, the more people will start playing this stock. And it takes you to all kinds of different dispensaries and stuff. So let's look at the 20-day real fast. See a little resistance right around 75. I like to see this 50 SMA start crossing up. And see if we can get this up to the 83 area. And then if so, it can break on up. But this is going to take catalyst, a little news. But keep LBuy on your watch list. Been holding David's tea, huh? Well, let's get that sucker to move up. Well, I hope everybody had a good time in here today. I'm going to back on out of here. Probably could do this all day long, really. I'm so immune to talking about stocks. But I want to thank everybody for showing up. Don't do this very often, but the market was closed, and I figured, what the heck? I wish everybody a Merry Christmas and a happy full beer. Follow me on, you can follow Vegas, like I said, at Vegas1, at Vegas1 on StockTwits, and I am washboardjim on StockTwits. washboardjim. You can find me that way. Y'all have a great day. You're welcome, George. Glad to see you again. Trevor, take care. Mark, can I take a look at GBR? Yeah, I'll look at GBR real fast. I got it charted up. New Concept Energy quarter loss of $121,000. Sales aren't that big on this thing right now. EPS was down 6 cents from 5. Sales were only 160K from 194K. So that's not too good so far. It's not too good so far. So if I was playing this thing, maybe I'd try to get it down below 220 for a support area. Right around 218 would be maybe my entry. A low support right around 213. Okay? So just, I'm not bullish on it 100% at all. But I do follow the action, and looked like it had some pretty good action yesterday. It hits that resistance right up in here and wants to fail at 240. So play the scalp on this thing. Don't swing it. If it gets down to the low under 220 area and 213, I would consider it a scalp and run it up about 10, 15, 20 cents. And that's GBR. I'm not 100% bullish on it. Just a little bit, I'd probably scalp it. Something really got this thing jumping up here. Something happened here. Back on 629, somewhere around in this area. So I'm going to sign on out. Been on here for a couple hours now. Need to cook me a hamburger and clean house a little bit. All right, Big Dave. Mark, glad you got on here with me. Anybody wants to, on my YouTube channel, I think I have the Discord hookup down here. If you want to join our group, we have a 2-week free trial. And if you like the room and you enjoy the Vegas night talking on voice, Zach Morris, if you're familiar with him, he'll be on there with me next week. He's a good friend of mine. We're going to be talking stocks. He's the low float king. And so yeah, Discord is called Vidya. Let us know that you come from our YouTube channel. If you join, subscribe to the link that I posted of our I Love Stocks YouTube channel. And catch y'all later. I've said it probably 10 times. This will be the last. It's hard hanging up on your girlfriend, but I gotta go. So, thank you very much. Have a good day. Always remember, keep it simple, keep it fresh, and keep it clean. You notice I don't overpower my charts. I have just a couple moving averages, RSI, my trend lines. That's about it.